Hello, and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. We are looking at the last few days of May this week and moving into June. We start with let me look at my notes here, Moon in Libra on Monday, the 29th, and then we have a full moon in Sagittarius, which will be the strawberry moon on June 4th. And times vary a little bit depending on where you are in the world, or times and dates. And otherwise, pretty quiet astrologically at the moment, though later in the summer we're going to have that Pluto retrograde back into Capricorn. So anytime we have a retrograde like that, it's a kind of a do-over time. So when that gets closer, I will say more about that. As always, I hope that there's something here that helps you, that resonates with you. Anything that doesn't, just leave behind. And hopefully you are checking in with your intuition more often now, and looking for other kinds of guidance as the world is shifting. We're moving more away from relying so much on the brain, particularly that left brain, analytical, critical, judgmental side, and opening up to more creativity, more use of our intuition, more dropping down into our heart space. All right, so I am using the Wild Unknown Tarot for our reading this week, and then we will finish with the Crystal Oracle cards. So for the theme for the week, oh, that's so interesting. I just picked up the card for Monday, the 29th, and realized that there was another card stuck to it. And I was just starting to say that it was a week that seems to be having, some echoes here. And there were already 2 10s, and then now the Wheel of Fortune comes up. So we'll just take those both for tomorrow. The first card, the one that I actually saw on top, was the 10 of Wands. And Wands are that instinct that we have, that you don't even have time to process it. You just do it. You go for it. So there's a bit of that kind of energy on Monday, and then that is backed up by the Wheel of Fortune. And of course this is a major, and it's interesting because this is the only major that did pop up for the week, and it was a hidden one. So on Monday, with that 10 of Wands energy, it can feel like too much. Too many irons in the fire, too many things to do, feeling a bit weary because you've had to put out a lot of energy recently. So that Wheel of Fortune, I think, is encouragement to take things in stride, perhaps to step back, try to see a bigger picture, prioritize. Does this need to be done today? Know that it's all heading to a good place, and part of that too is getting rest for the self. Then on Tuesday, we have the Father of Pentacles. So this is the earth energy, and often you would see this as a king. Here again, a father. The energy is slow, earthy. It's a feminine, masculine put together, because you have the earth element, which is the feminine aspect of it, and then of course the father or king, or in some decks known as the knight too, has the masculine element. So there's a real balancing here. Sometimes people call this the slow king or knight, the one that does take time. Can be an emphasis on greed, but I don't really think that's what's going on here. It could be a good day for kind of taking stock of resources and making executive decisions about that. What is it that you really want to do with those? Tuesday has that energy to help you ground and make a good choice on that. By Wednesday, we have that third 10. this time the Ten of Cups. So now we're moving into the emotional element, the psychic, the unconscious, more connected, again, to the heart. And this one with, the tens, not in the majors, but in all the rest of the suits, there's that momentum that rolls you right back to the one. So it's almost like there's too much emotion. That is one possibility. It could be a lot of happiness, but even happiness can be too much sometimes. We can be overwhelmed. So basically Wednesday, maybe look for some strong emotion to occur, maybe some very good emotional news, or maybe you'll really be on your game when it comes to your intuitive abilities. On Thursday, we return to the earth energy with the Two of Discs. So all the twos connect to our intuition because they're all connected to the High Priestess. And this one is often about balancing. And, here we see it on the butterfly, kind of looks like a bit of a tiger stripe butterfly here. And then you have a little disc on each of those lower sections of the wings, and they're connected with that infinity sign, showing that energy is moving across, or it can be, vertical too, but just the moving back and forth, back and forth. So a real grounding kind of energy there as well. Could be about making decisions, could be balancing a situation or balancing something in the body, because again, it has that very physical aspect to it. So far it's all been ones, tens, reduced to ones, and then that two. We continue with the earth energy for Friday with the Mother of Pentacles. So we've had both the Father and the Mother, or the King and the Queen, in the earth element. And here, it reminds me, I was walking the other day along a creek and heard a little bit of a splash and looked down, and there was a doe with a very tiny fawn. I mean, I don't think it was probably a week old or something like that. It was really small. And, of course, this makes me think about that and that wonderful, image to me of them being in the water and, getting their drinks and playing a little bit and things like that. So Mother of Pentacles, Mother of Discs, has an energy of reflection. All the queens are very reflective and looking back over life and taking stock again. So between the masculine, the Father of Pentacles on Tuesday, and then by Friday, the Mother, and then having that two in between, it seems like a week where there could definitely be some practical things that need attention, or good support for doing some practical things, making practical decisions, reflecting on your journey, perhaps giving gratitude, really figuring out what causes that feeling of gratitude in you, and not in comparison to what other people might have or to what society tells you you should have at this point. We are all prone to making those comparisons between ourselves and others at times. But it's really better, I feel anyway, to focus on what really makes us tick, what makes you happy and what counts to you. And I'll bet you've accomplished a lot more in that way than you may think you have, and just putting society's markers aside a bit and seeing how things resonate for you. So it seems like a really good week for that. That feels to me like the overall message. When we get to Saturday, we have a second two as well. So the whole week ends up just ones and twos, which is very unusual. Of course, makes me think of the whole binary thing too. Um, so let's see, thinking about those moons, moving from the Libra to the Sagittarius. So that's a lot. It comes in a sector of the astrological wheel that has to do with our relationships with other people. So it seems like a good week to kind of evaluate those and, maybe look like, what's the reciprocity? Are we overgiving? Are we undergiving? It's never, just equal exactly, but it goes back to that infinity, that moving back and forth and finding some kind of equilibrium that feels good. So on Saturday, it's about choices. So here we have the Two of Swords. You'll often see this card with the person sitting there wearing a blindfold, in the sense of the choice should be made with the purest motives, with the best information, with good instinct. I mean, the swords are mental, and that's where the decision part comes in. But it's trying to make a decision that is balanced again, and thinking of how people are affected by it rather than just yourself. Then we have the second father of the week, or second king, and this one comes back to the wands. So I guess this was our only wands of the week, right? It was, yeah. So this is the one. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's right, we started with the 10. I was thinking, I know I said something about wands earlier, that's why. So here, back to that instinct, back to the masculine. Now this one would be a double masculine, so especially strong in that way. Really can have great energy and getting something done, rushing forward, making a movement. And it is not impulsive when it's the father or the king. It's more thought out. It can be very strong at the same time. So a good balance during this week of masculine and feminine energies for us. So keeping the self in balance, making informed decisions, again, emphasis particularly on that earth energy this week and the practicalities that can come with that. The other thing that I'll mention about these royal cards, the two fathers and the mother, or again the two kings and the queen, it can be people around you as well. It can be parents, it can be older, in terms of the mother, an older woman, or with the fathers, older men that can be just those energies in the self as well. But go ahead, look around for people on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, and see if there might be any connection for you in that way. Then we'll finish with our oracle card, and we got the rose quartz this time, and that is about new or renewed romantic love. Now, of course, it's much more than that as well. Rose quartz is, because it's connected to love, you're not going to be surprised, I think, when I say that it's very much connected to the heart chakra as well. I think it is good self-care, as well as helping to promote our relationships with other people. So that really seems to be fitting well with this idea of taking care of ourselves and looking at our relationships this week and how much in balance they are and what kinds of adjustments and so forth that we might need to make. So hang in there, beloveds. Definitely times are changing, and you're probably a sensitive person if you're listening to this, so it can be a big challenge to navigate this. I heard someone say a couple of weeks ago that this is so much about letting go of those more ego dominated traits that the world has lived under, and again moving more into the spiritual, more into the heart, more into the psychic, and sharing those gifts. But as we're moving into that higher self energy, it can be very disconcerting. It can be disorienting. We can be thrown off. So use this week to help you balance those things out. Please consider liking, sharing, subscribing. That would be awesome. I'm so grateful for every one of you. And if you're interested in a personal reading, I'll put some information below, and then there's something at the end of the video too. So have a great week, and I will see you again next week.